know what order you wanted those, so I just kind of, so you could see what they were. Already put the, where they have to sign for the meeting over there
Okay.
for them, and
Did
they've
you
got
do the
agenda
minutes?
and minutes, as well as their book.
These are extra.
Morning, Jim.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Do we have audio? There's this.
You gonna run the recorder?
We do.
Well, can I put that for you?
Can you text Lacey and have Lacey text Chris? Out. Can we just review the tapes, or do we actually need to run the ballots back through a DS-200?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good.
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't bring a pen in.
Is there one?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Did you send, minutes?
I did not.
Okay. I checked and I wasn't sure if my email.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Good morning.
Well, good morning, how are you?
Good. Everybody awake this morning? I'm not. We got a cup and a half in me. Oh, we got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We discussed it this morning.
Oh, boy. So everybody's all recovered from Tuesday night? Not yet?
I just want it to rain a little bit.
Was your mud getting dehydrated?
Yes.
That would be a concern. Okay. I guess I really didn't see that contest as terribly.
It was between 3 counties, and it came out to 6 votes.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Ah, that's why I didn't see it, because I only
Yeah.
looked at our county. Okay,
What's that, 25?
yeah.
So it's our county in what, Madison? Our county in Madison?
Sebastian,
Sebastian.
yeah. get any information about the other counties, the number of, okay.
Yeah. I know, I'll call Kim today
That's a
and
good
see.
idea.
Yeah.
So as far as the 3 count goes, since it is 3 counties, does that mean he needs to pay $2,500 in each county for the recount?
Well, or per, I think it's 25 cents a ballot.
Oh, yeah, okay, it says like, not to exceed 2,500, you're right.
Yeah.
I just saw that 2,500 and I thought times 3.
And I think I'll have to, run the ballots back through the DS-200,
Mhm.
so.
Well, we got time to kill here, y'all. Rather early.
Renee, did you get this that I sent you last night?
No, I have not, wait a minute, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It was yesterday afternoon, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Okay, yeah, I was thinking last night. Yeah, I did, I appreciate that. I don't remember it being in color, but I guess I was so tired yesterday, I wasn't thinking about it. I did not get anything done yesterday. Can't imagine how it was for you. Oh, is that for
Yeah.
runoff? Okay.
That's for the runoff.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are off and running again.
I just feel like, you know, everyone's like, oh, the election's over, you must be so relieved.
No, it's
And
not.
it is more work after the election.
Yeah.
And then when you have a runoff, and then this,
Right.
it's actually more stressful because your time went from 4 months preparing to an election.
Right.
To 1 month to certify, get a new election, and then this, and.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have a time crunch on this?
We have to do it before certification.
We certify. Okay, yeah.
We have 48 hours to notify the other candidate.
Oh, okay.
And then, so, and Monday's a holiday.
Right.
I'm thinking Tuesday.
Okay.
That will be my
Yeah,
suggestion to the
yeah, that
commission.
makes sense. I mean, there's not that many days between now and certification.
No, certification's Friday.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah.
So,
And that doesn't actually get extended when there's a holiday in the midst.
nope.
Strikes me as odd, but
Can we have Debbie text, can we have Debbie bring me, the results or the report from election night with the group details?
Which report?
The election night report with group details.
Oh, there she is.
Too late. Can you bring a copy of the election night report with group details?
I just sent it to you.
Okay.
anything about life?
No, honestly, like I said, I think it had to do with,
She was so thorough.
yes, and no awareness of the urgency
Yeah.
to return.
Oh, gotcha.
I had received a text from her late that
Mhm,
night
mhm.
with like no acknowledgement of, sorry, it was just thank you for your help.
Yeah,
But it's just, so yeah, so,
she was oblivious.
uh-huh.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
So, yeah.
Well,
But
good to know for the future.
it's funny, the things that we get used to in such a short time frame, because in previous years, being done at 10:30 for a primary election, we would have been ecstatic. Because
Exactly.
normally it's like midnight, 1
Yeah.
o'clock,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Morning.
oh my gosh,
How you
we're done at midnight.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
exciting, how exciting that is.
It's not 3.
And so then we get used to
Right.
being done by 10 o'clock, and,
30.
yeah, and when it goes over, you're disappointed because it's past 10 o'clock.
Right.
And if you think about it, we're like, hey, it's a big improvement
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
from previous years.
yeah, exactly.
Yes, please, thank you. So, yeah, so it's very interesting what we,
Oh, sure.
adjust to, and how quickly we adjust
Yeah,
to it.
exactly, from election to election.
Yeah.
All expectations.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Set
let's,
it too high.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's get this meeting started. We do have the minutes somewhere. We'll take a minute and look at those. You've looked at them?
I've already looked at them, I'm good with
Yeah,
them.
okay.
Yeah, they look fine.
Okay, we'll let the minutes stand as presented and, move on to the provisional ballot review for in-person ballot.
Okay. So. Give me the right batch. Okay.
We do have quite a few.
Yes, we do. So, and you should, ones we're gonna go through.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so these can be counted if they return their ID by Monday, or Tuesday at noon.
Okay, so we have to wait on
Yes.
14 of them.
Yes, so, but they do require your signature, so I can mail them, and what we'll do is, don't mark yes or no.
Okay.
But go ahead and sign, and then, because they're eligible to be counted.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they don't come in by noon on Tuesday, then I will mail them a letter letting them know that their ballot did not count due to the fact they did not come in and show ID. So this is the first set of ballots except one of these.
I was just gonna say,
We
you've
have
got one
One,
that
Okay.
provided ID.
yes, and it has, what was the name of
Third
that?
page.
Any weeks.
Okay.
Here's the last.
Did we already send letters to those folks or call them?
The election day ones we have not, because they all
Oh, they're for the
receive,
day.
yes, this is in person. They all receive notice at the polling location
Got it.
that their procedures. Yes, here is hers. And
So that one moves
Yeah.
out of that file.
this one would be, they're all yeses if they
Okay.
show ID, but this one you can go ahead and mark yes.
Oh, okay.
And that one, we can let her know that her ballot did count. That also does happen to be the only ballot in House District 25.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
There you
Okay.
go.
To get that one counted. All right, you want me to put that in the same stack or a different
No,
one?
I'll take it,
Okay,
I'll put it on top.
okay.
So we just, we just need to do.
Just sign them
Just
and,
signature.
yeah, and then, once, if indeed they do come in,
We don't have to check anything.
no, Jennifer will check the box and send them the letter.
And the clerk's notified, or not notified, the clerk has verified all of their, proof of registration.
Are these the same stack?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah. Got some different envelopes.
So this is a supply chain issue.
Oh, is it really?
It is, when they printed our first set of ballots, she printed them on the smaller envelopes, which is what we requested, but we only had a limited number printed because we didn't know
Oh,
how the
yeah.
courts would rule on the
Right.
voter ID, so I didn't wanna waste a bunch of envelopes.
Yeah.
You know, and there'd be a court ruling before
Yeah.
the election, and so then I had ballots that weren't, or
Right.
envelopes we could
Sure,
use.
sure.
So then when the court ruled, you know, or put the stay so that for this election, the law remained the same, I called Deborah and I said, I need to order more, envelopes, and she said, well, we can no longer get the small ones,
Yeah.
so, okay,
Envelopes are just in an awful place right now.
yes.
We're finding that.
Okay. So these are all ones that can count,
Okay.
and you'll see the grouping of them. Several of them are for people who requested absentee ballot.
Oh,
And their
yeah.
absentee ballot, was not turned into the clerk's office.
Mhm.
Two of them were transferred to another county in error, not by our clerk, but the clerks in those counties.
Oh,
And then, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them were where it says power outage and able to find a poll book, street file. Those were during, when we couldn't get through to the clerk's office,
oh, right.
and they couldn't find them in the poll book, so they voted them a provisional, so that the clerk then could go back. The last two were poll worker mistakes. One was in the poll book, she meant to reissue the ballot, but she hit reissue provisional, and then it
Oh.
puts that little
Oh, yeah.
black mark on it, it won't read into the DS-200, so it's here. The other one is that very confusing thing on our poll books, where voters are marked as inactive,
Mhm.
and it says inactive eligible, but our poll workers see inactive and think that, well, they must not be eligible to vote. So he voted a provisional, which not turning the voter away is definitely, the important thing.
Right.
But I'm going to ask ES&S
Mhm.
if we cannot just take that part out of our tablets, because it's too confusing. Like, why do we have to have it show active and inactive?
Yeah.
And then that would help our poll workers.
It's not it's really irrelevant information.
It is, if they're not,
I'm roasting it.
It is.
Are you drinking coffee?
It's insane. It's crazy.
Are you drinking coffee?
Well, that's half the problem.
I've got ice water if you need it.
I'm drinking coffee too.
Oh, boy.
Carry
There
on.
we go. There we go.
Carry on.
So these you can mark yes on all of these, they are eligible to be counted.
And how many are they?
They're on the list, you can get that. I mean, there's,
This one does not have an
Like
address
16
on it.
total
Are you
here,
gonna be
I
able to
think.
get that?
it'll be on the envelope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you'll just pull that over.
Yeah, we have addresses for everything, and we're,
All right.
yes.
So check these with yes
Check them with you.
and sign them.
Yep, so these are all. The two where they're transferred to, another county,
Mhm.
that typically has to do with if the clerk is doing a transfer and they just look at a name and don't make sure that the birthdays are the same, they just accidentally pull a voter
Yeah.
and, put them in, their county.
Need more? Like you're chasing something down.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to interrupt you.
No.
I have clarification on all the bear stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I wanted to see the statute.
Yeah.
I found the statute that says bearer information doesn't match the form they filled out plus what was returned. If it's somebody different, then it becomes provisional. But I didn't find the code section that then addressed what happens in that specific instance when
After
it's
that.
provisional.
Yeah.
If it's provisional, that's fine,
Right.
What do we do then?
I printed out the pages in your book for
All
that
right,
this
go.
morning,
Right
and
here?
then I clarified with Chris
Okay.
on that this morning.
Oh, good.
Okay, thank you for specifically looking at
Yes.
that.
Because
Okay.
I find it very confusing.
Yeah, if you find it confusing.
Yeah, it's just the way the code is drafted, it's fine, it becomes provisional, that's fine. But
Right.
can you count it? And it's different in different instances when ballots are provisional for different reasons.
Yes.
Which is,
All right. So these are provisionals from election day that cannot be counted.
Okay.
these are voters who are not registered in Washington County or just not registered at all.
Okay.
We will verify that these voters filled out voter registration cards so that we can get them registered to vote. And then, we'll mail them a letter letting them know of the hearing
Okay.
date. that
You've
they-
got one that returned an absentee, and the absentee was counted.
Yes, yes, and Becky, well, and in fact, Evelyn remembered seeing the name when we were looking for
Oh,
these.
way to
Like, I
go,
feel like I've
Evelyn.
seen that name when we canvassed ballots,
Yeah.
so yes,
So we need to check these with no.
these are no's. Registered in other counties or not registered to vote at all.
Okay.
I do think, and I don't know how to fix it other than a legislative fix, but being registered to vote in another county, you can't change your voter registration on election day. It
Right.
has to be done 4 days before the election. So essentially, those voters are like in limbo.
Yeah.
They can't go
Yeah.
back to their old county and vote.
Right.
They can't vote here, but they are registered to vote in Arkansas. So there's not a good fix for that solution.
Yeah. You know, that's out of our hands.
Yeah, it would take a legislative change
Yeah.
to fix that. And I think a lot of voters may not realize that, you know, in the county, you can just call the clerk and she can change your address.
Yeah.
But county to county, you have to fill out a new card,
Right.
and that's the difference.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, people don't.
Oh, and then the next page is all the
Yes.
ballots that were rejected.
Yeah, these are all of those.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that took care of all the in-person.
Oh, okay. These are all absentee.
Yes. Okay, so these are absentee provisionals. That should be in your board package.
Mm-hmm.
So, these are all for no ID.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a letter on top for you to sign. I did contact all of these voters yesterday by phone.
Okay.
They can still come in and
Yes.
sign, not check.
And one of them, the administrator of their assisted facility is bringing in a form for her ballot to be counted. One already has done that.
Which one are you on?
Do you have this?
Yeah. No.
This is the letter that she,
So this one is one where she has already returned her ID.
oh, okay,
So hers will count. This is the form the clerk fills out.
got it, okay.
Yeah.
So do we need to do anything with this?
Oh, there it is.
You'll need to
We'll
sign,
go down through here, there it is.
yeah, somewhere there it is.
Okay.
These are all,
Just
yes,
just do signature,
just signature.
because they still have to return their ID.
But this
Ms.
one,
Davis has
go ahead
returned.
and check it.
Mm-hmm, yes, yes. And the other ones I reached out to and
Well,
spoke
there's
to all of
that,
them.
maybe, we might want to keep that separate, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll put that one on top. Sure, I'm glad you are well organized, Jennifer,
I mean, that's
because
true.
this is huge.
Take one of those.
Okay. There you go.
I felt like you're just like shuffling cards. when
Oh,
you
I
have
know,
them,
yeah.
like keeping them in the right track, getting the list and all of that. So that's what we worked on yesterday.
Yeah.
Check this.
Okay, we'll put that one separate on top.
Then the last one, of the provisional for absentees is the designated bearer one. This is the one where
Oh,
there's a signature on the voter statement, but the designated bearer stamp and name on the outside does not match the name on the inside. So it is automatically set aside as provisional. So I talked to Chris this morning, and then I printed out the portion, important reminder
Okay.
from your manual, and it talks about, the name and the address of the bearer, agent, or administrator on the voter statement does not compare. So as long as there is no other reason to not count this ballot, because there was a signature on the voter statement designating that someone could bring the ballot back, but the name on the envelope didn't match that, but even though that doesn't match, if there's no other reason to not count the ballot, you
Go ahead.
can count this one.
Okay.
So this one is a yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Jim.
Definitely
That's,
what this says.
yes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, is this the,
Yeah, and so
okay,
that's
gotcha.
definitely what the guidance says. I would
Okay.
say, reading that statute, very poorly drafted,
Yeah,
could be interpreted either way.
gotcha.
So, this is the guidance, you know, certainly we should count the ballot.
Right,
The guidance,
right.
definitely we should, but that whole code section, really
Yeah.
poorly drafted.
Yeah, and,
And it could be argued either way on
Oh,
some of these sections, the interpretation could be.
Yeah.
so I found that this morning. We just got those books in
These
like,
things? Oh,
like maybe 3 days ago. So I pulled it out this morning to look for that.
Thank you.
And then I also texted Chris once I found it, just to
confirm.
verify what I thought.
Yeah.
I see the subsection they're relying on, and I read it on election night, I didn't think it applied.
Yeah.
It's, again, different interpretations, this is the, you know, guidance, so.
Yeah. You go by that?
We go by that, we count the ballot, certainly, but it should be, somebody should clean
Improve
it up.
it.
Yeah, improve it so it's clear.
Well.
Then
You
the,
want the code to be clear?
Ah!
then the last
Because
set, the,
counties make mistakes, I mean.
Yeah, true.
People make mistakes on whether to count those or not.
yeah.
You know, it's confusing.
Okay, then we've got the absentee ballots that were rejected.
And if you'll notice, there's one designated bearer on here that was
Oh, yeah.
rejected. This is the one where it clearly states in the law that if there is a, bearer stamp on the envelope, but not any bearer designation on the voter statement, then the ballot cannot be counted.
Oh, wow.
And that one is what this scenario is with this voter.
So wait, it was not on the voter statement,
No.
but it was when it was returned.
Yes, so
Yeah,
see,
okay.
there's
Nothing
nothing
there. Okay.
here, but when you look at the envelope,
Yeah,
Returned by.
returned by bearer.
Yeah.
So it can be returned by a different bearer,
Mhm.
but the voter, when they requested the ballot, had to have stated,
No,
when they filled out the voter
Mhm.
statement, they had to
Yeah.
have stated it's gonna be returned by a bearer.
Yeah, so this one, it does clearly define that this one would be rejected.
There's no wiggle room there.
No, This is the only one it clearly defines
Okay.
how to deal with.
Well, what I don't like is, it appears on this list of absentee ballots that are going to be rejected, that there's several what appear to be husband-wife combos.
Yes,
And that, I don't know, is that voter error or is that unclear instruction?
I think it's both.
Maybe both.
Yeah. I will need you to sign this for
The one that
Yeah,
had the
the
designated
designated
bearer,
bearer
and
one.
that's a no.
Yeah, so a lot of them, if you'll see where I put birthday not found,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
so the form that the state gave us, there's some missing, places where we could put reason. Because some of these where it's birthday not found, it technically was also the address was not found, but they had signed the form. You know, so the
Mhm.
form was incomplete,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing that we send to the SBEC doesn't necessarily have a category for that.
Oh.
So I just picked birthday not found because we actually did have several where that was the only thing missing. So I just put them all in that category. And then the other ones was just the voter statement was not found at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then these voters will all get notice, that their ballot did not count. There is no remedy for them. But, hopefully they'll look at it closer or, you know, maybe not make.
Some of these, I'm seeing some that are at Arkansas. I don't know, let's see, one on Joyce, which is possibly, Butterfield. And I'm just wondering, are these people who were assisted by an administrator or something?
Well, and that's what I wonder too, and I wonder, maybe getting together with the administrator, because
Yeah.
both of the administrators that I talked to, after I talked to the voters who didn't have ID,
Mm-hmm.
were like, oh, send me that form.
Right,
And they
right.
would get that form completed, and they are bringing the form up here for the clerk's office, so they're willing
Absolutely.
to do it. So I don't know, putting together a little packet for them that says, make sure that they fill all of this out completely, and they have like a little, you know, at those facilities, they have little
That's
classes
right.
on everything.
That's right.
Maybe a little
Yeah.
class on absentee ballots would be good.
Yeah, or I'll sit down and fill these out together, so we do it
Right.
in a way that makes it acceptable.
Yeah, this is it appears to me a large number. We're talking about 29
Yeah,
total
yeah, and I mean,
absentee ballots.
that's the thing, when you look at it, the addresses stand out, first of all, that there's husband and wife in several, 4 different, section, or 4 different addresses are identical to 4 others. Then you've got, what do they call them? Homes, retirement places, and that to me says they tried, but they didn't read it all the way.
Yeah.
They needed some direction. I think that's what I'm saying, they needed direction. And maybe even this one on Southwest End Street, because there is a home down that way. But, yeah, that's too bad. So they will get a letter stating that they're not, their vote hasn't been. All right.
And then we also have these 4 rejected ballots that will need to be
Oh,
included.
yeah.
Now, I'll let you look at them. One of them the barcode wouldn't read on the DS-200, there isn't anything for you to sign, but you can see. And so the DS-200 rejected the ballot, and the voter had to leave, couldn't recast it. So we'll need to recast that when we actually count provisional ballots for that voter.
Okay.
This one, the voter actually printed the ballot out of the express vote and then just left it hanging in the express vote. So, the poll workers, when they went
Found it
to
on
the
the
ballot, well, they found it still in
Oh, it
the
was in.
express vote, so they put it in here. It can be counted.
Okay.
The voter just left without following through with the process.
Okay.
These two, the voters were marked as voted in the poll book, but then just decided they didn't want to vote. And so just returned their ballots to the supervisors. One of them, one of them came in looking for a specific
Oh.
candidate on her ballot, was not eligible to vote in that precinct, and then got upset and just left. And then the other lady, or the other person, I'm not sure if it's a man or woman, but, didn't like their ballot and just decided to leave. So, those are votes that have been credited to voters, but not actually votes in the machine.
Yeah.
So they need to be accounted for.
They'll have the right to change their minds. They did. Okay, so that's all of absentee and provisional.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the June 21st Republican primary runoff.
Okay, so here is the
Oh,
ballots for your approval.
okay.
They look a lot different because there's not as many races
Yeah, for
on
sure.
there. So for the runoff election, there's only 4, races, Senate 35, House 23, JP 14, and Constable 1, and County Judge, 5. So there's 5 races. All Republican, so there's not a Democratic primary.
All polling locations open.
All polling locations open except for Yvonne Richardson Center, which
Oh,
the
that's
commission
right.
had already,
Right,
made
Yeah.
that designation, earlier.
Yeah.
They will have basketball camps there.
That's what I was looking for. Okay, we've got one here.
There's an explanation for that.
What?
There's an explanation for
Okay.
that. The reason why it's cut off at the bottom
Right.
is when, I tried to do the, through the programming computer,
Mm-hmm.
I can't create the PDF of that. ESNS has to do it, it's a glitch in their system, they already know about it. We had to do that for the primary as well.
Okay, but it will appear
If you look
on
on, yes, if you look on one of the other ballots, it's all completely there.
Okay, well, that's what I was looking to see,
Yeah.
where there was all, if indeed all 4 races showed up on any of the ballots.
We
and-
do not have a ballot that has all 4 races on it.
Okay, well, this one looks like it,
I mean, has
Doesn't have all 5.
all 5
oh,
on
you've
it.
got 5, I was thinking 4.
Yeah, sorry. I
Okay.
forget, the judge, it will be on all of the ballots.
Oh. That is it. Why does it? Oh, yeah, I see another one, where JP 14 gets cut off.
Yes.
Okay, all right, Jenny.
And I don't know if I said this, the candidates stay in the order in which they originally appeared
Right,
on the ballot.
okay, good, good.
we got preliminary notice from, this is the paper ballot. I was like, I knew I printed paper ballots.
Oh, that's what
I
yeah.
know, I was like, I had them stuck to my note from the SOS's office
Gotcha.
stating, what the races would be, and they confirmed it would be Senate District 35 and House District 23. And then, of course, on our end, JC 14 and Constable 1.
So, only people who voted on the Republican primary side are eligible to vote in these elections, correct?
Whoever took a Republican ballot,
Republican ballot,
a
yeah.
nonpartisan ballot,
Oh, the
or
nonpartisan.
did not vote at all,
Oh, yeah,
are
okay,
eligible to vote in
okay,
this election.
gotcha.
So if you took a Democratic ballot, you are not
Yeah.
eligible to vote in this election.
Here,
Good.
okay, yeah, so, I mean, do we have a count on, well, I mean, if somebody didn't vote, then they still have the option to, yeah, there were a lot of people who didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Wondering how many would show up estimated.
I
can't
don't
estimate it.
know, it's, you know, the last time we had a runoff election, it was on the Republican side, but it was an overall voter turnout of 5,000, but it was a statewide race.
Yeah,
This is a county race,
Yeah.
the county judge race, so there actually may be some interest
there might, yeah.
in that. So I think we'll, you know, 10%, if we saw 20% for the
Wow, that'd be
primary,
amazing.
10%
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know. We'll certainly plan as if it's busier. We'll still only send, I think, we'll send a smaller amount of express votes out to each side, only because the ballot is short.
Right,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there's no point in getting all of them out there.
Right.
Will be in and
So,
out.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's sensible, and you can always pull out more equipment if a place
If-
gets busy.
If we needed to, but we saw for that Senate District 7,
Mm-hmm, oh, yeah.
that with 5 express votes and a short ballot and 5 check-in tablets, those sites processed over 1,000 voters with just constant.
Right.
So I feel like the 5 express votes definitely
Mhm.
is the max we would
Mhm.
send to any one location, and then just the check-in tablets,
Yeah.
you know, making sure they have that portion of it,
Okay,
so.
good. All right, well, I will entertain a motion on approving this ballot as presented to us.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the ballot is approved. We've got a notice of election here. And these are basically all the sites that we had for the primaries.
With the exception of Yvonne Richards
Right.
Center.
Right. So,
We will only have early voting in the county clerk's office. There won't be any off-site early voting. It will just be in the county clerk's office, and we will assist the clerk with, additional poll workers, to make sure that that runs smoothly in her office.
Okay. All right. Got our practice down, we can do this.
We can.
I don't think you've got this on the rest of the ballot. How did the, pop-ups do this time?
They actually did really well. Fayetteville Library, people loved,
Oh, is that
Did they?
right?
loved, got
Yeah?
great feedback from Fayetteville Library, and their numbers,
Yeah, we'll have to look at the whole
Yeah.
sheet at some point.
yeah, let's see. They did 212 voters in 3 days.
Yeah.
Bud Walton Bud Walton did 125, but that was kind of to be expected just because of the timing
Yeah,
of
that's
us
true,
being
yeah.
there. Rise Physical Therapy for 2 days did 119. So, you know, I think those three, and then of course Lincoln did 148, and that one is the
Oh,
one that's
yeah.
open the second week,
Right.
Yeah.
because we can just leave the things.
Yeah.
Those 4
That's great.
locations would be my recommendation for the general election.
Okay.
Shiloh just did not hit the mark like we thought, and it was adding that one extra site in there
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a lot for us.
Oh,
to-
really?
They did 52. And so I don't know if for the general election, Shiloh would be my location. I almost am looking at Town City Hall, I think will be
Oh,
a
it's
location
so good.
that's great for us. But we could be back at Arvest too.
Oh,
And Arvest is a known site, and part of me is looking at what if we did it as limited early voting in addition to Town
Yeah.
instead of Shiloh.
Sure, it's probably.
Just something, you know, just something for us to think about, in regards to that, because Arvest is known, you know, and it's
and it's on, well, they're doing a lot of construction out there right now. Ooh.
It is, so, but that's just something, I mean, we don't have to make any
Right.
decisions on
Yeah.
that right now,
Yeah.
but just some thought on that. I do think we need to revisit, Springdale Rec Center as a location.
Okay.
It is, instead of us having the whole facility, we share it with basketball and soccer, and it was under construction this time, so the parking was bad for voters and they had to walk a long distance. I think that that's something we need to revisit before the general election as well, is possibly moving out of Springdale Rec. As much as I like having that type of facility, it's just not actually meeting our needs like it should, and we get a lot of complaints from the voters at
Oh,
that
sure.
facility.
Sure.
So, yeah, so, but that is, you know, a conversation for us to have when we
Right.
start, but just something to think about.
Put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
Well, good. I meant to ask you about those the other night, and hadn't gotten to it.
Yeah.
All right.
But Fayetteville Library has already contacted me wanting to be, you know,
Good.
wanting to be back.
We like to hear.
Yeah,
Good.
so they were, I thought that was very well
Yeah.
received.
On a personal note, I voted at Town, and, I thought it was a little difficult to find, you know,
Oh, really?
because parking's all behind the
It's
building.
behind, yeah. Yeah.
And you can go in on the, I guess it's the east end, takes you around the parking lot.
yeah.
The west end is a street.
Right.
And so, I think once people get used to it,
Mhm.
it'll be fine. But once you park in the back, I think we need to, I didn't see one. I think there needs to be another sign that identifies the door that you go in.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
not clear, because
Yeah.
there's the police department and the city hall, and I thought, well, I'm not going into the police department. That wouldn't be the way to go.
You're not scared, are you?
No, I have had my experiences with the Tommy
We're not
Town
gonna go
Police.
there now.
But, yeah, you're right,
I
and
thought-
there was no sign that said vote here, which I thought was
I think,
lacking.
I think in time, as people get used to it and go there and vote, it'll become, you know, kind of like second nature. But
Right.
I do think there might be some better ways to ID how to get it into it and to get into the right door.
Like a sandwich board or two or something.
Yeah, that would be
Something,
helpful.
Vote
Yeah.
here or
Yeah.
something like that.
I agree
Yeah, we should do
100%. I myself didn't realize, because that was one of my worries, because I don't like to cross traffic, was the only entrance into there off of the main road, and then I realized you could go to the light and go down.
Yeah.
So we definitely will do better signage for Town, for the general election, and make the sign in front, the sign at the light, then a sign at the entrance, and then a sign. So, yeah, so we'd already kind of that was definitely, something for us to do better.
Tell people to go to the
Good idea.
park,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, to go to the park.
You know?
Yeah, 'cause the park's right on the other
Exactly,
side.
yeah.
Exactly, and if you're familiar with the park,
Yeah.
you're a lot more familiar with how to get into the city hall.
Yeah.
But that has all changed recently, so
Yeah.
it'll get better. I think it's a perfect facility for it.
They liked us
Yeah.
there. That, you know, when you're in a facility and you feel like they're just tolerating us,
Right.
you know, you're just like, okay, maybe we need to look
Yeah,
for
for something
another
else.
location.
Right.
But they were excited to have us there and, you know, very accommodating, you know, for any of our needs and everything. But signage, we definitely can do a better job of that.
Yeah. Trial and error. Okay, next meetings, provisional ballot review on June 2nd. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, and then certification on June 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, logic and accuracy for the runoff, June 7th. Provisional ballot review, June 23rd, and certification on June 23rd. Moving like that.
Okay, those are wrong.
They're
It
wrong?
should not be June 23rd. That would be 2 days after the election. I got
Oh.
ahead of myself. It should be the Thursday after the election, which would be June. I looked at that and I was like, well, I'm rather ambitious.
Yeah.
The 21st is the Tuesday, the Thursday after is the 23rd.
No, I need the
following?
Thursday, yeah,
That would be the 30th.
the 30th. That should be the 30th
That's for
for the runoff.
certification.
Certification is the 30th?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to hopefully try for us to certify on the 30th. If
Okay.
there's no overseas ballots,
Oh, yeah, because
we
that's a
can-
holiday weekend.
we can keep that, and that way, we're not here, on July
Right.
1st.
Okay.
So there's no meeting on June 23rd?
No.
There's no
Okay.
meeting on that one?
Oh, sorry, yes, there would be, June 23rd would be the review for provisional.
Provisional. Mhm.
I'm so sorry,
So this is the June the 30th.
is
just
the last
replaces that
one,
last one.
is
It's
the last
30th.
one, sorry,
So we have meetings on June 2nd, June 3rd, June 23rd, and June 30th.
yeah.
We're not meeting on June 7th, that's just LNA.
Right.
Well, no, you'll need to meet to sign LNA.
So that's us to sign
Mhm.
LNA.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay.
I'm so
I
sorry.
wasn't sure if that was just for you to
No,
conduct.
that-
Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
Yeah,
I
the
didn't.
commission will have to sign.
Okay.
All right, well, get those all on your calendar, and,
Doing it right now.
we will, move on, and we'll talk other business, because we already have other business. This comes from Becky. And go ahead and,
So Becky received an official request for a recount for House District 25. And so we have 48 hours to notify both candidates that are impacted, in that race. So Jody Harris is one of the candidates, and then I'll contact the other candidate to let them know. And we'll need to set a time to actually do the recount.
okay.
So, yeah, tell us about how the recount works.
So the recount, and I printed out, these little manuals came in handy for the FCEC this morning, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's great.
So basically, once the request has come in from the candidate, then we'll notify, the other candidate. We'll also send them a copy of our LNA showing that we
Yeah.
can fit
Oh,
the
yeah.
equipment
Do that.
and all of that, so we will send that to them. We qualify under recount procedures technically as paper ballots, because our express votes aren't actually counting the ballot, it's creating a paper ballot.
Yeah,
So if you look at this, it says votes cast on paper ballots must be recounted in the same manner as the initial count. And we confirmed with Chris what would be the best way to do this, and it would be to run the ballots back through the DS-200.
you're not gonna run it through the 450?
We could run it through the
Isn't that gonna be
450.
way faster?
It would be, one of the things we're identifying right now is there are only the precincts that are involved in that House District 25, we've identified those precincts. We are looking at the results tapes for those polling locations where those precincts are most likely to vote. So we're not gonna have to do a countywide recount.
Are you
because
sure?
We're gonna
Like,
look at every oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying that, we're gonna,
Seems like it likelihood would be most of the sites would have, maybe not. How many votes were cast? This is we don't have all of this district.
we don't. The total votes cast in this was 1,902. There were a ton of undervotes, 127 undervotes in this particular, well, actually 163 undervotes. 2,691 total votes were cast. Sorry, I was just looking at election day.
That's a decent number.
It is, but the area that this is located in is like Elkins, Goshen, those areas. So we're looking to see, because we can tell from the results tapes,
Yeah,
the
where,
votes cast at those locations. So we'll identify all of the polling locations that had votes cast in this House District 25.
okay,
That will narrow down the polling locations that we need to count.
yeah, so every single polling location that has any ballot cast in that race, we're gonna have to
Yeah.
count all of those ballots.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll identify that. That will let us know if we should try and use the 450. We have 60 S200. We can bring up 6, poll workers to feed them in to each of the machines. We have the 450. Probably more than likely there's votes cast, for this race here at the courthouse. So the courthouse would be one to
Definitely.
count on the 450.
And all of the early vote locations, potentially.
We'll look at those. Tawnytown,
Maybe not.
maybe not. Prairie Grove, maybe not. But we will identify
Yeah.
every location to make sure that we've pulled every single site that could potentially have ballots in it.
Is this the downside of having voting centers?
In some ways, yes, is that you would have to.
I would never have thought about this.
Because normally, if you looked at the polling locations, it would be Nob Hill, Elkins, Goshen, West Fork, Boston Mountain, and Baldwin. Those would be the sites.
Basically all on this side.
Probably
Yeah.
mostly from those anyway, but.
I
mean,
think
we have
so.
that
Yeah.
that 450 at least. If we
Yeah.
have
Right,
a
that's
bunch of
true.
ballots
That's
count.
true, and if it's tweaked so it's working
Yeah,
correctly,
exactly.
we should be okay.
We ran our LNA ballots through it.
Yeah.
And we
Cool.
had really good luck running our LNA ballots through it. So, there are 4 ballots, from the absentees. So we'll, have to do the absentees as well. And there's 700, there's 8, I keep looking at the top number, there's 8 absentee ballots, 781 early vote ballots, and 1,902 election day ballots. So,
So when you're doing it, you're basically programming this count like as an election that just counts this race. We're not gonna count any other races.
Exactly what I was gonna.
we'll count everything.
Oh, is that
Because
right?
the ballot.
So probably we should notify every candidate in the county then, right? I mean, if it says the county board must notify all candidates whose election could be affected by the recount. To me, that just says could be affected, doesn't say could change the results. We might wanna send a letter just heads up, we're doing a recount. And your race could be affected even though, we don't anticipate the results changing. That's just what this says. We can look at the statute too.
Well, I mean, the question there is, you're focused on one race. Are you gonna compare results to all races?
So, this is how I kind of envision doing this. We have 2 computers, for programming. One that has all the results in it from the original election. The other one we can read these new sticks into.
Gotcha.
But I feel like if we run the tapes, if we run a stick-in and print the tape, we can compare it to the tape from election night.
Right.
And if those match, that's what we're looking at, is just this race on those matching. I didn't look at it as all of the candidates that are on there.
Yeah.
Because the other option, which I don't think we want to do, is do a hand recount.
Oh.
That is more prone to error.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So there's no intent to compare any other races at
So
that
you're
point?
not, we are counting the numbers, the results from the other races, but we're not releasing them, we're not,
Recounting.
yeah.
There's been no authorization to do a recount for those, either, as a request or, authorization given by this board. And so you're really only looking at the one race where the authorization.
we'll print the tape and it'll have everything on it, but the only thing I think we're looking at is
Exactly.
House 25 on the tape, but I
Well, I think,
never thought about it in the terms you're.
yeah.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if you're tabulating the results
Is
for
there
other
any,
races.
is there any way you can exclude all the other
Yeah, and
races and count?
just count
one?
one race.
So
That's
we
what I
can't,
would think.
Yeah, that's what
I don't want to reprogram it, but Debbie
I can
can
run
run the reports
Just for one.
for one race, but the tape will still have everything.
Right.
But when she runs the stick-in, she can just,
I can exclude everything except.
I
Except for
think we
this
should
one
do that
race.
and do
Yeah,
a
I
report
agree.
to recount
I
race
agree.
then, 'cause
Yeah.
we don't wanna get into reporting other
No,
recounts, partial recounts or anything like that. We're just focused on the one race.
exactly.
Yeah,
I thought I was
Let's
running
do
a
that then.
report already with the one.
I'm good with that then.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
if we're counting.
Right,
it's good
and it
with
says,
in other
yeah.
races.
I'm wondering if on the
We need to get
DS
the heads up.
200, if there is a way, because we can do precinct, there's a way for us to do reports out of the DS 200
Oh, yeah.
itself. I've never looked at doing just a candidate report out of the DS 200, but we will look at that too.
Okay.
But we do need to set a date for when
Yeah,
you
when
do
are
want
we doing
to
it?
do this.
Well, you're
It'll be after
thinking,
we've cleared all the other issues that we're working with as far as ballots, what's gonna be counted.
So, we were not gonna, I was thinking we would not count these ballots until the 3rd. But when we do count these ballots, they're counted in separately anyway. And
Oh.
out of these ballots, there is only one ballot for that race. So I thought we could focus on what we reported election night and then focus on the, because I don't wanna mix this in
Oh, sure.
until we do the recount, because I don't want to, have any mistakes.
yeah, that's a good point.
And so we will continue to keep these separate, from our original.
But
And then
essentially,
clarify that the recount was for that only, there's still outstanding.
There's only that one, yeah, and so we can look at it, but
we
yeah.
will know by Tuesday how many of
Yeah.
those are, have been returned with ID.
Yep.
So only one is in the
Right,
precinct.
But we'll
right.
know.
And that person has already returned their ID.
Oh, okay, so that one,
So
all
is
right.
that just a weird?
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean,
that
that's
is-
just like,
So we can count, or do the recount anytime.
yeah.
Okay. When do you
Do
want
we
it?
wanna do it, but we have to do it before Friday next week,
Yeah.
because that's when we certify. So we've got, I guess we
Monday's a
could do
holiday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I think it will take us a day.
Oh, really?
I mean, okay, so any one of these locations that I looked at right here,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of them had more than 400 votes cast on election day, do you? And it takes 30 minutes, 35 minutes to run 300 ballots into a DS 200. So if we set up 60 S200s,
Oh, yeah.
and that's, you know, set up 60 S200s with 6 poll workers at each one of those stations, then, you know, depending on how many polling locations I identify, we should be able to do it within a day, and then if we do the, the quorum court one on the 450, that was 5,000 ballots? Maybe, something like that. We can run those on the 450.
Well, we need to set a date. We don't want to pinch you guys anywhere.
You can't wait until Friday to do it.
Exactly.
You can't
Yeah.
really wait till
Yeah.
Thursday to do it, can you?
I
If
think
you wanna get this
Tuesday
thing
or
done.
Wednesday.
So what do you need from us to be able to do it? Like setting the date and then meeting to sign the results, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll arrange for the poll workers and
I mean,
the staff and everything. Monday's a holiday.
Tuesday's
Right.
fine if you wanna try to knock it out and have some extra time. I don't care.
Wednesday's the 1st.
Yeah.
Tuesday gives us, allows us if there's any potential issues.
Yeah.
Let's go with Tuesday.
Okay.
I just don't want you guys in a,
Well,
midnight crunch.
Same.
We will be anyway, because we also have to get LNA ready for the.
Right, right.
Yeah, so but we will, Tuesday, yeah.
Okay.
At 9,
Let's do it at 9,
I will.
When do you want us to meet?
May 31st.
What time? We don't need to be here all day.
I just,
So-
that's a,
Well,
Somebody can't be.
if one
I can be
commissioner
here.
was here and then, okay, if we start at 9, let me identify how many sites
okay.
I'm having to count ballots
Good idea.
from.
Yeah.
Because that will let me know approximate time frame of how fast
Mhm.
we can count the ballots.
Okay.
And then that would let me know if I thought we could be done at a reasonable time of,
Right.
at 1 o'clock, say, or by, if it's only 7 sites, then maybe I can be done, at 11.
Mhm.
And that way the commission, we would need one commissioner here at least to do, to just oversee
Right.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
And if we had to recast any ballots, because
Mhm.
once.
Oh, yeah, once we start
When a
recasting.
ballot goes through once, that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll
Yeah.
go through a second time.
Right.
So, let me identify
Shoot for
the number.
Tuesday
Okay.
at 9, and,
I will also check to see if we can do it in the quorum courtroom.
oh, good.
If not, we'll be in here, but the quorum courtroom will be ideal.
Oh, man, it'd be
Yeah.
much better than in here.
Yeah.
Right, but, yeah, so I'll check with Julie to
Okay.
see if we'll be, available for us.
Okay.
And then I will let you know if I think it will be 1 or 3 o'clock before
Okay.
we would
That's
have.
fine.
Okay.
Whenever it is, it's fine.
Okay.
That's Tuesday, May the 31st.
Yeah, May the 31st.
And you're gonna notify us of what we need, if we are gonna meet.
Yes, I will,
What
and
time we need to meet.
yeah, and I will get in touch with the candidate, with the other candidate to let him know that there's a recount
Yeah.
as well.
Is he already aware that one is coming?
He's already, no, I know he knows that it's a close race. I spoke
Oh,
to both candidates
okay, good.
yesterday.
Good.
I know he knows that it's a close race, so I don't think he will be surprised
Right.
to know, that we're doing this.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Remind me what the results were. Look here, how close
So the
was it?
this is what's interesting, it's over 3 counties. So when you
Yeah,
added in
yeah,
3 counties,
yeah,
it ended up being within 6 votes.
Oh, over the course of 3, so it's
Yeah.
Benton,
And I think in
Washington, and
County,
Madison.
It was with,
flipped the opposite direction as far as who.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that right?
yeah,
Yeah.
And
it
it
was
was, what, 40 or 50 votes, 31?
29.
29,
Yeah.
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 so, and I think what's concerning, because I had questions on this, is if you notice there's, I have this there's 163 undervotes,
Right.
which means that no one voted for that. Now,
Mhm.
on the
Gotta count
express vote, which is what is really interesting, is there's like no wiggle room. It says no selection made, so it's not even
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
it's not even like on a paper ballot where maybe they lightly filled it in and the
Little squiggle,
machine
little
didn't
squiggle.
count it. This will say no selection on it, so it just,
Yeah,
it won't,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, other
Got it on
business?
there.
Any other business,
I
Joe?
just wanted to ask one question.
Sure.
What, when it says, as far as the cost is concerned, 25 cents per vote cast, is that for the total number of votes that were cast in that, particular race? Or what happened, where does that number come from to build this person?
It comes from the code, and I don't know how they determine, because if I had written this code, because technically, we're going to count a lot more
Yeah.
ballots
That's right.
that were cast in this race, because we're gonna count 10,000
Yeah.
ballots, and I think it should be 10,000 times .25 cents. But does it refer to just the amount cast in their,
In that range.
in that race?
Yeah.
I don't know, but we can ask that question.
Okay, I have another question here. It says here that the election commission may decide to conduct a recount on its own motion without a request from the candidate. So I have a question as to why, what would initiate a recount by the election? What would cause us to make a motion to vote on whether to do a recount?
If it was a race that was tied?
I don't know.
Yeah, or just some random thing happening, I don't know, ballots having a bunch of, Coke spilled on them or something, and,
Yeah.
the machine's having difficulty, or, some oddball scenario like that, I
Right,
guess.
it would have to be pretty
But not just a
oddball.
close race.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean,
Have we
because
ever
run
done
that, we
anything
run
for a
the
close
zero
race?
tape, we run the L&A,
Right.
we're confident in the
Exactly,
results.
yes.
Especially now with the DS200s and the way those machines read in the ballots compared to the old machines.
Oh,
And man,
100%,
compared
yeah.
to hand counting back in the day.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Jim, I would think something like that probably, some weird scenario like that
Mhm.
where the ballots weren't able to be counted, or there was some problem with the machine like that, I don't.
Well,
Well,
and
we
that's
count
part of it, if we've
something
had
like
some
that.
issues in the past.
Right.
But I don't think we've had any of those issues that just make us nervous about a count.
Not since I've been on the commission, and I've been
no.
on here 9 years.
Right,
You've been
yeah.
on here longer than me, Renee.
Right.
But before, we got on the commission, I remember Bill talking about, a past election.
Well,
I
that
think
was when Bootsy ran.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it was, that was in the days of Ivo.
The old
and-
equipment,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Paper
Yeah.
ballots
And
plus,
I don't remember
I
what
have no idea, but.
was being run then.
The old 650 or
Yeah.
whatever it was, but it had a zip disk in it, and you had
Oh,
to
I
save to
forgot
that
about
zip
that.
disk, and then you could potentially oversave
Yeah.
on top of it.
Yeah.
And you ran all the ballots through together, so you could accidentally not save.
Mm-hmm.
You could accidentally not have cleared the machine,
there was-
and
Right.
it doesn't,
Potential for human error
Oh, big
in operating
potential,
the
yeah.
counting machine
Yeah.
then.
And they got,
I
like,
see.
My recollection is they got 3 different results.
they did,
Wasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I
At least
remember-
3?
Yeah.
I remember him saying that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was an awful night.
But it was sounds like it was an issue caused by the machine and human error.
Yeah. I
Human
think so,
error
too.
in operating the machine.
Combination.
So, I mean, if there was something like that, but these machines are so, less
Mhm.
prone to human error.
Yeah.
If- What will be, in your estimation, our actual cost?
Well, straight off the bat, it's $300 for the commission to meet.
Sure.
So, I mean, so there's that. Then, if I bring in 6 or 7 poll workers, that's their, hourly wage times the amount of hours they're here. And so, you know, let's say it's $100 for each of those poll workers to be here, so that's $700, so that's $1,000 right there, and then that doesn't account for our time as well. I don't think $2,500 actually covers
it, yeah.
the amount of the cost, especially if we ended up, let's say we ended up and there's one ballot in each of the polling locations, then that adds to the man hour to do it. And, you know, so, yeah. But, Jim, for me, the thing that would cause us to have to do a recount would be if I ever thought that our voter check-in numbers did not match our ballot count. For me, that's what would raise a red flag, and then I would say to the commission, I'm missing something.
Something's not right.
Something's not right, and that would cause me to ask the commission for a recount, because I trust the DS200 and how it counts. But if I notice a huge discrepancy in the number of voters checked in versus the results tapes from the DS200, that's when I would be like, I'm missing something and I don't know what it is. I can't identify it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry to take up all that.
No, I
that's
think it's a great question.
A good
and,
question, and, I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully we don't face that kind of scenario, but
Yeah.
it's always in the
Good
cards
to think about it.
somewhere.
Sure, I agree.
Okay, well, other business, anybody? Anybody?
No.
Okay, we're adjourned. And we will free you guys up to keep racing.
Election cycle continues.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody put this,
All right, thank you guys. I'll see you sometime on Tuesday.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good one.
You too.
There, you got that.